and I'll have you gather up front, right up here. We're going to talk about the story of Jonah today and in the weeks to come as well. So we're gonna need some of you to play different parts of the story, and I'm wondering, Tristan, would you be Jonah today? Okay. You may not know what you're getting into, but you're going to be Jonah. Let's see here. I need 3 people to be some really evil, bad people. My 2 children were the first to raise their hand. Okay. Katie and Derek, and who else wants to do it? Lucy, you want to be an evil, bad person today? All right, you 3 come on over here. Okay. You guys are called the Ninevites. So you live in a city over here called Nineveh. They were really, really evil people. They didn't love God. They didn't follow any of God's commandments. They were just cruel and mean, okay? Now, you guys are sailors. So you need to come on back and get in your boat. Come stand behind here in the boat. Come around that side, okay? You guys are sailors. Hopefully you can see up and over the boat. Okay? Now, come on over here, Jonah, not Noah. Okay? You sit right here. So Jonah was a prophet. Okay, and a prophet is someone who delivers a message to people for God. Now, God came and told Jonah, Jonah, I want you to get up, go over to Nineveh, and that was a long ways away, by the way, like 500 some miles. Jonah, go to Nineveh and preach against their wickedness. Now, if you know the story, when Jonah heard what God said, Jonah did the opposite of what God told him to do. So Jonah got up, and instead of going to Nineveh, he went to the sea, to a city called Joppa. Come on over. Jonah paid them money to hop on the ship so that he could go the opposite direction from where God was telling him to go. Okay, so he gets on board, and you know what? Running from God is really exhausting. So he fell asleep on the ship. So you lay down, okay? Now you guys need to start rowing. Row your boat. You have a long journey ahead of you, okay? Actually, we need to probably be rowing this way, away from Nineveh, okay? Now, God was not pleased with Jonah's disobedience. Jonah should have been going that direction, and instead he got on a ship that was going that direction. And so God sent a big storm onto the sea. And it started to get really wavy, okay? And they were getting tossed about, and the boat was almost breaking up. And they started to throw the cargo into the sea, okay? Pretend you're throwing your stuff into the sea, okay? And then they got even more scared because the storm was getting worse and worse. And these people didn't worship the one true God. They worshiped all kinds of other gods, okay? So they were calling on their gods, save us, sun god, moon god, save us, God of the seas. Everyone was calling on their God to try to save them. And then they noticed, hey, there's someone else in here, and he's sleeping. So, wake up Jonah. Wake Jonah up. Okay? All right. Jonah wakes up. And they're like, hey, maybe you need to start calling on whatever God you serve because, you know what? Things aren't getting better. And they started asking him questions like, man, where in the world are you from? And he told them, well, I'm a Hebrew, and I worship the God who made the sea and the dry land. They got scared. Like, whoa. Jonah ended up telling them that he was running away from what God wanted him to do. And so Jonah had a plan. He said, you know what? I know how I can get you out of this storm. He said, if you throw me overboard, the storm is going to stop. Now, okay, let's all sway like it's a big storm, okay? And we got to pick him up. Come on, Landon, let's do this. And we're going to throw him overboard. Ready? He's overboard. Messed up my tie. Okay, we're good. Okay, and guess what, though? Guess what? When he got thrown overboard, the storm stopped. Amazing, huh? Now, the story's not over for Jonah. He began sinking down into the sea. I bet you he's going to die. Does anyone know what happens next? Landon, what happened next? God sends a big, huge fish to swallow him up. We're going to talk about that next week. All right? So, here's the lesson from today's story, okay? If God tells you to go and do something, don't be like Jonah and do the opposite, right? Do what God calls you to do. So, as far as our story is concerned today, Jonah's as good as dead, right? He's sinking in the sea. But God actually has a plan. And there's a whole lot more to the story of Jonah. Eventually, Jonah's going to end up over there. But we'll have to wait and find out how that all happens. You're going to end up over there, yeah? But how's that going to happen? We'll find out. All right. Hey, thanks you guys for coming up.